us. Jay Bala, Chief Market Technician at catchthechaos.com is now joining us. Jay, could you just tell us about market view? Do you think markets are consolidating over here and that in turn means that we are making a bottom or in the process of making a bottom?
Yeah, we had laid out two scenarios for you last time. Basically, those two scenarios still hold good. As you rightly pointed out, the short term is going to be a bit of a consolidation or choppy, and we need to see what's going to happen the next couple of weeks. The next 2 weeks, the market going into the year end is going to be important. If the markets can take out 8,500 levels, the scenario that we laid out in the month of March, which is the record highs coming through for Nifty, will hold good. But if the markets were to take out 7920 and break the critical support at 7777, then we are looking at the markets going to be boarding for the next 1 year with a prolonged chop between 7200 and 8600. So that's the range of the market if the market were to go below the critical support of 7777. But as long as the quadruple 7 holds, we are still envisaging record highs for the market in the medium to long term.
Right, but what would be your strategy? One is of course trading, where levels become very important, but you always tend to focus on slightly longer term. So if a investor wants to invest, one should start investing right now. These are good levels with say a 10% stop loss and the investment horizon being slightly higher.
Yeah, you should have your expectations correct. You're not going to see phenomenal returns come through, even if you identify the correct stocks. The returns are going to be much tapered going forward. But, we had pointed out IT as being a contrarian bet. We are already seeing some action come through in HCL Tech. And if you look at second-rank stocks like Mastech, they're all looking promising. So, it's not going to be, promising returns for every stock. But you should temper your returns focus and have a lower expectation. And if they can get exceeded, that's fine. But, we're not going to see many stocks do a phenomenal run. But, there are pockets which will definitely outperform, and IT is one of them that we had pointed out, and we still stick to that.
Right. In terms of, some of the stocks, let's start with Axis Bank. It's the top gainer right now. Earlier, it was also among the top losers in the last few days. Do you think Axis Bank can be a good tactical buy because there is already a lot of negative which is built in?
Yeah, that's a good point you're making. Yes, Axis Bank is a good short to medium term bet. We are looking at record highs of close to 700 in the medium term, but you have to be willing to weather a bit of storm in the short term. But better than Axis Bank in the private space, S Bank is looking better. I think the recent low of 1095 is likely to hold, and we could see something like 1600 come through for S Bank. So keep a focus there, and even something like Crude Bank is looking attractive for the short term. So basically there are pockets of opportunities everywhere, but you need to allocate lower capital and set your expectations lower.
Right, but something like a Yes Bank, if there is a banking rally that we see, it could lead the way. That's what you're saying. So that's why it's better relative to Axis. Yeah,
that's right. So because what is outperforming when the market is struggling, that will continue to perform better because money always goes into the outperformers, and the expectation the trend will persist. So keep a focus on S Bank. I think that's the promising one at this point of time.
In terms of technology, which you mentioned earlier, which are the names that you like? Or the entire technology sector is looking good? Because mid-cap technology, surprisingly, has done very well in the last 4 or 5 days.
Yeah, from a returns perspective, I think something like Tata Elxsi is looking very attractive to me. I think we had pointed out last time, that it's likely to double, and it's likely to go to 2,500. I think even with the recent rally, I think it's looking very promising. Last time we spoke, it was much lower, and it's come to something like 1,500. It's still got a lot of steam left. Look out for the stock to outperform, and if you can look at something like even Mphasis, but the top pick is going to be Tata Elxsi in this space.
Right. about more than stocks, also another thing that a lot of people would be tracking for India would be what happens to crude. What is your outlook? Crude earlier, you have always told us it's in a oversold region. Do you think now that oversold region is getting corrected, but the upside seems to be limited?
Yeah, that's correct. And we are looking at something like 59 to 60 for Brent. And once it does that, it's going to get stretched on the higher side. So, once we can see Brent come close to those levels, I think we can see a short-term correction come through. Upsides are getting capped, and we're going to see a long-term, range between, not a long-term, I'll say medium-term range between 60 to 37. And, I think on the higher side, $60-61 will cap the upsides for Brent. So, we are looking at more chop to come through than the recent sharp rallies that you saw that's going to taper off, and we're going to see more of correction in the short to medium term.
Right, but how would you play this crude? Say if you're an investor here in India and you don't want to put into commodities, do you think Reliance, ONGC, some of these names looking positive, and if crude goes up, the targets could come earlier than expected?
Yeah, that's true. And even BPCL, besides the name that you mentioned, is looking positive. We are looking at something like 750 for BPCL. And yes, Reliance is a very good bet there. And, recently we've seen it slowly inch up. And, once it can close above 1100, I think the rally in Reliance will get much more vigorous, which is what we've been saying for quite a few months. But once the last time it saw 1100, it's come back and it's given investors another opportunity to pick up under 1,000. So look out for this. Keep it staggered and steady over here. Once you see a close above 1100, I think the rally in Reliance will be much more swifter and faster.
Right, Jay. Thank you so much for taking out time for us. It's always a pleasure getting your perspective on the market.